Hello my floss tube friends, I am back with a little update video of my challenge, and I thought that I would maybe just record something a little bit cute before I show you the progress that I have made in a week. Yes, just 1 week. If you didn't see my last video, I had given myself a challenge to work on one small chart and one sort of large-ish chart. And it's London by Thea Gouverneur. And I also decided to work on Wolf by Dimensions. And this is where I am a week later. So I'm actually recording this sort of on the fly because I don't want to waste time setting things up and getting cameras on tripods and things, because it just takes time away from my stitching, and I want to get as much done in my challenge as I can when I'm able to. So last time you saw it, I hadn't quite finished this building, and now we've got the whole building finished. So I basically finished this flag up here and did a teeny little bit of backstitch on there. I was having a lot of trouble trying to understand the backstitch on this chart. The backstitch on this chart is indicated by little lines, horizontal and vertical lines or arrows with the symbol, but they're so sort of vague, you don't really know what they're pointing to. So I kind of went around in circles trying to figure out where some of the backstitch was, and then finally the penny dropped. If the penny hadn't dropped, which it was very, very likely that it wasn't going to at some point, I wouldn't have been able to figure out what color this backstitch was. So yeah, I mean, I really love these charts, but I do find it very, very sort of vague when it comes to the backstitch instructions, and I'm not sure that I will actually continue doing any more of these charts in future for that reason, because I think it could have been done a little bit better than just an arrow pointing that way, say, with one symbol, and another arrow up here with one symbol, because you don't know how far down the building that backstitch is referring to. It could be the whole area down here, it could be just up that little bit there. So yeah, if any of you have done the Thea Gouverneur charts, I think you'll know what I'm talking about. And so I think I'm going to go with just, I did ask in a group and they were very helpful, but people came up with different backstitch ideas about the instructions, so that at the end just confused me even more. So I think I'm going to go on gut instinct. So moving on to the wolf chart now. This was my challenge piece, so I started this one last Tuesday, and I have decided to try and get as much as I can done by the end of this month. Like I said in my last video, it would have been nice to get an actual finish, but I'm not going to start, you know, speeding along and trying to pull any tricks to try and get it done at the end of the month. I'm just going to, you know, try and put a little bit more effort than I normally do stitching something, but I'm not going to go crazy and stress myself, because I have actually done at least 3 or 4 hours a day of this so far, and that's quite enough for one piece, considering that I'm so used to working rotating pieces. I'm so used to working different pieces that I was starting to get a little bit fed up after a couple of hours of doing this one, which is why it was nice to choose the London piece, because then I had something else to fall back on. Because like I said in my last video, I don't think I could ever be just a monogamous stitcher ever again, because I've just been spoiled too much by FlossTube and so many videos and so many great charts that are out there. So let's see what I got done this week. Okay, so here we have my progress so far. Now, I know it doesn't look like there's a lot's gone into that, but trust me, there is a lot of work gone into this. Firstly, there are blends. So up here we've got 3 strands. We've got 2 strands of one color, 1 strand of another color, so there's 3 strands. And then we've also got 3 strands along here. And I've worked these 2 different sections, because in between those sections is just one colour that goes around in between this. That's really going to be easy to fill in later and not count. That's about as far as I got, but I managed to finish his ear in here. And in a lot of the brown sections, what we have is, oh my goodness, colour blends, 1 strand, 2 strand, 3 strand, one strand colour of this, 1 strand colour of that. Then we've got half stitches in here. Some of them are half stitches, some of them are full crosses, plus the blends, plus the different amount of strands. Drove me a little bit nuts. But anyway, we got there. And I managed to fill in all that section, and managed to fill in all this section, and sort of in between these areas which you see that are not filled in, there are more half stitches. So you can see we've got half stitches here, a full crosses right beside it. And there's a lot, it's very confetti heavy. So this section here is actually the worst part of the chart. So I'm thinking I'm going to probably be able to get quite a bit done by the end of this month, because all around here is quite a lot of straightforward stitching. His nose wasn't too bad to do. And then we've got these branches that sort of cross over his face. I really love how his eyes have come out. I actually love how this has come out, because if you look at the picture, it looks very sort of silvery white. It looks a lot lighter browns than the actual chart does. At least that's what I'm seeing. So, you know, in comparison, this one's a lot richer. The colours are a lot richer, and I actually think I prefer that. So yeah, there's quite a few branches to go over the face and everything. So I think what I'm going to probably end up with, depending whether I start maintaining at my pace, which is like 3 or 4 hours a day, or if I don't maintain my pace, if I actually go faster, I'll get a lot more done, obviously. But if I even slow down a bit, I think even with all, I should be able to get most of the wolf done, if nothing else, because then all the white areas that you see here, that's all white and silver stitches, are all just half stitch. It's not a difficult piece if you don't mind using blended threads, if you don't mind, you know, using more than 2 strands. I'm actually enjoying it, because it's a total different way of thinking and stitching than doing the heids and doing the big full coverage, which I normally just end up going in diagonals, or I end up doing blocks, which I don't do with something like this. But even though I'm not a cross-country stitcher, I find it nice every so often to just change my ways and do something a bit different. So I think where I'd started was up in the eye here, and then I moved down, and then I went back to the top. So this is as far as I've gotten, and I'm not going to make any predictions about having it finished, because that just puts me under pressure. I know it's a challenge, but I don't have to kill myself in a challenge. I'm just going to try and get what I can get done. Now, on top of what I failed to mention is that on top of these lovely branches and backstitch, I'd forgotten the fact that there's all these French knots. If you look at the picture, my God, there's loads of them. And I'm not a French knotty type of person. So I may try a couple of knots, which I don't even like hearing myself say that. But if it doesn't work, which I'm thinking it probably won't, I'm going to go in with white beads. I think I'm just going to get white little beads. And I think those knots, the snow is not going to get me, it's not going to be a finish before the end of August. Definitely not, I think. But I'm not exactly going to finish. I don't think I'm going to get a finish. I think I'm going to get 3/4 of the way, maybe. Anyway, I'm not going to make any predictions. Let's just see where we go. Tell me what you think. How do you think I've done so far? What I can say is that it's been a lot of fun working these 2 charts, and it's nice to actually just have been able to pick out a couple that I can focus on and get a good amount of progress on both. Yeah, it's short and sweet, so thank you for watching, and thank you for all the lovely comments and encouragement that you gave me in my last video. It's much appreciated. So I will come back and see you again in a week's time, and we'll see how far we get then. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Bye.